So this is a really interesting update. Today we're talking about yet another one of these Montreal Canadiens prospects. But this video is going over a different kind of update because the guy actually signed a contract earlier this morning, which is great, but it's not with the Montreal Canadiens, and currently the contract that he has kind of affects his status with the Habs. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Let's go out there and talk today about former Kalpa star in the Finnish Liga, Oliver Kapanen. Now, last time we had talked about Kapanen, we went over how he could be seen as the Golden Canadiens prospect. This was because his stint with Kalpa in the Finnish Liga was really good, especially in the postseason. The guy was over a point per game, which definitely indicates just where his game has gone. He had 34 points in 51 games played in the regular season, but really exploded with the 14 points in the playoffs. And Kapanen, while he does not have the same skill set as his cousin Kasperi Kapanen, he's not like a super speedy winger with stone hands and not really a great hockey IQ. He's more of a two-way defensively responsible center who could also produce points, and that is what the Canadiens drafted when they selected him 64th overall in 2021. This is all fine and dandy, and we did make the scouting report kind of update video just a few weeks ago, so you could check that out if you want. But the update with Oliver Kapanen comes to us from the Timra IK's Twitter account. Take a look at this tweet made. Varmt välkommen till Timra IK Oliver Kapanen. VM akut... Okay, we're gonna translate that. A warm welcome to Timra. World Championship current two-way centerman Oliver Kapanen has joined Timra IK from Kalpa for the coming season. The deal extends for 2 years. Big warm welcome to the entire Metal Pad Association, Oliver. So, this is a really big piece of news for the folks over at Timra IK in the SHL because they're getting themselves one of the top European players, and he's on for 2 years. However, some of the replies go out there and ask, wait a minute, is this, good for Montreal? What does this mean? And if you want to scoop on that, Marco D'Amico has got you covered because he went out there and tweeted this. Oliver Kapanen has officially signed with Timra in the SHL. The contract is set to expire at the end of 2025-2026. If the Canadiens sign him to his ELC this summer, he would only be forced to go back to Sweden for 24-25 and would be free to cross over to the Montreal Canadiens in 25-26. Per the NHL transfer agreement, if the Canadiens sign Kapanen this summer, he can attend training camp in the fall. But should he fail to make the team, he must be offered back to Timra before sending him to the AHL. However, this limitation only exists in year 1 of the ELC. However, if the Canadiens decide to wait until next summer to sign him, then Kapanen will have to honor the entirety of this contract, short of a mutual contract termination. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory. I think D'Amico did a great job at giving us the scoop, but it is interesting to note that one of the better Montreal Canadiens forward prospects is in this spot where, essentially, if the Montreal Canadiens project anything out of Kapanen into the next few years, it would probably be best to sign him now, rather than wait until next season to sign him to his ELC. We recognize that different prospects that come from different leagues have different ways of having their rights taken by NHL teams. The NCAA guys will be free agents after 4 years and finishing up their collegiate careers. The European guys might have a little bit of time marinating as property of NHL teams. And for teams from junior, the CHL folks, they can re-enter the draft as quickly as they can get drafted. It takes just a few years. So when it comes to European players, it's a bit different, especially with the contracts and everything that are being signed with these teams. Oliver Kapanen is a guy who, if he wanted to project some NHL projectability, I think he could max out as a potential good third-line center, okay second-line center, with some two-way stability, and a guy who could play a penalty-killing role and get some points in the process. This is a fairly good prospect, but if the Montreal Canadiens have to wait until 2026-2027 to use him, then who really knows what's going to happen between now and then? If the Canadiens want to open up the option of having him on the team either this year or next season, they have to kind of sign him now, right? Sign him now, either send him to Timra for this upcoming season or play him in the NHL, which I don't think they'd do that right away. So play him for Timra, 24-25, and then bring him to the NHL in 25-26. Okay, you have to sign him now if you want to do that, but if you wait until next season, it's going to push his NHL eligibility to the season after as well. So the Habs kind of are forced to make a choice here, aren't they? At the end of the day, though, this is going to provide Oliver Kapanen with a really great opportunity in Timrå. It's kind of a known fact that Oliver Kapanen's father, Kimmo Kapanen, actually is the GM of Timra IK. So that is going to be pretty good for him, I'd say. Not that nepotism is a great way to guarantee success in any field, but just having Oliver Kapanen being pretty much guaranteed to getting a good role on this team, I think that's going to bode very well for his development. If you go over to what Kalpa had, so Oliver Kapanen's team this previous season, Kapanen was one of the top guys in points, but he was not the top guy. He was 4th overall, he was behind Mayenpa, Kontner, and Risanen, and if you head over to Timra IK and what they're going to be dealing with, if Oliver Kapanen is one of the top guys, I don't know if that would be all too surprising. I mean, you've got Philip Hollander, Hansel, Pettersson, and Dahlin all there with the team. A lot of Canucks ties, oddly enough, with these guys from last season. If Oliver Kapanen goes out there and continues being a point-per-game-ish caliber player, then he could very well be the top player on this Timrå squad, and his father is going to be the one seeing that all out. Let's go over onto the article on Timra IK's website, because it does go out there and have some comments here from Oliver himself. He speaks about the team. It feels fantastic to be able to come to Timra IK, a team I have followed since childhood. I can hardly bring myself to get started with the team. It is filled with skilled players with a lot of experience and high standards. It feels like the right step for me in my own development and being able to participate and contribute to wins. I have great expectations for the season. I want to win and take the next step with my team and individually. Comments Oliver Kapanen. So the guy's got a good head on his shoulders, doesn't he? He also mentioned that the development process in Oliver was going to be pretty good as well. I'm very happy that we are getting a player of Oliver's Kapanen here in Timrå. It is a player I know from the Finnish League and a player I've wanted to train with for a long time. Comments Olli Jokinen, the head coach of Timrå. Who knew that Olli Jokinen was the head coach? Huh, that's a big throwback. If Oliver Kapanen is able to form NHL habits by playing under Olli Jokinen of all people, then hey, I think that's a pretty good combination. Oliver is a modern two-way center that gives us options in all areas of the game. He's made great strides and has already made his way into the Finnish World Cup team and is a player whose goals are even higher. It's very positive that Oliver feels that Timra IK is the right team for him to continue developing into an even better player. And finally, there are some quotes made by Kimmo Kapanen, talking about his son and talking about his progression. We can be satisfied that we are getting a player who has already shown his talents and whose development is progressing strongly. Oliver's strong all-around game gives coaches more options for different parts of the game. He is used to taking responsibility and gives us more opportunities and creates a tougher competitive situation with the team, comments Kimmo Kapanen. It's so weird hearing a guy talk about that with his own son, but hey, I mean, weirder things have happened, right? We saw Shane Doan draft Josh Doan. We saw Keenan Draper get drafted by Chris Draper. And now, Oliver Kapanen, one of the Montreal Canadiens' more underrated prospects, is making his way over to his father's SHL team. So, no Laval, no problem. He's going to be getting himself a good chance here. Either he makes the NHL in the next few years and signs his ELC early, or he sticks around there in Sweden, plays out till 2026, and then comes over to North America afterwards. At that point, it's a little bit difficult to project where the Canadiens are going to be, what other prospects they have, what other young guys they sign, and what the team looks like, both in Laval and Montreal. So for now, all we can do is take a look at what the Canadiens are going to do and how they respond. Do they sign Kapanen right away, opening the door for him to make his way over to Montreal in 25-26, or do they let him stay in Sweden and don't sign him until later, pushing his NHL eligibility to 2026-2027? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the development and progression of Oliver Kapanen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.